Welcome back to Movies Outpost. Today, we'll be diving into an action thriller movie titled Olympus Has Fallen. Enjoy the recap. The movie begins with a light-hearted practice fight between Secret Service agent Mike Banning and President Benjamin Asher. It's clear these two are more than just professional acquaintances. They share a genuine friendship. The president's family, including his wife Margaret and their son Connor, is at Camp David, preparing for a charity event. Banning isn't just the president's bodyguard. He's close to the entire family. We see this when he helps Margaret pick out a pair of earrings for the evening and offers Connor some advice on what it takes to be a good agent. As it's time to head to the fundraiser, the weather takes a turn for the worse, with heavy snowfall setting the scene. The president and Margaret are in the main limousine, while Connor is with Mike in a following SUV. On their way, disaster strikes. A large branch smacks the leading vehicle, causing a series of accidents. The worst moment is when one Secret Service SUV crashes through the bridge's barrier and plunges into the freezing water below. Even more terrifying, the president's limousine is left teetering dangerously on the edge of the bridge. Without wasting a moment, Mike, along with other agents, leap into action. They try to balance the limo by weighing down its end on the bridge. They make desperate efforts to save both the president and Margaret. Margaret's door is jammed though, and the limo continues to shift. Mike manages to free the president. However, the heartbreak is inevitable when he can't save Margaret. The limo plummets off the bridge, taking her with it. Connor comes running and screams, knowing that his mother just died. Fast forward 18 months, and the burden of the past clearly weighs on Mike. He's easily distracted, even when Leah, his wife, tries to talk with him, suggesting they spend more quality time together. Feeling guilty, Mike proposes a movie night when he finishes work. His new role at the U.S. Treasury is a stark contrast from his past responsibilities. The memories of the incident at Camp David haunt him. He meets with the Secret Service director, Lynn Jacobs. She's fully aware of his deep-seated guilt over not being able to save the First Lady. But she consoles him, emphasizing that he made the best decision he could at that moment. Even President Asher stands by him. He just doesn't want to see Mike and be reminded of the tragedy. Meanwhile, President Asher is with his son, Connor. They're discussing their upcoming trip to Camp David, though Connor would much rather go to the beach. Trying to lighten the mood, Asher suggests grabbing some ice cream. But duty calls as Asher is summoned for an important meeting. He's to discuss a pivotal gathering with the South Korean Prime Minister about looming threats from North Korea, a meeting that involves Secretary of Defense Ruth McMillan, Speaker of the House Alan Trumbull, and Vice President Charles Rodriguez. At the White House, Prime Minister Lee and his Chief Security Officer Kang Hyun-suk arrive for the crucial discussion centered on the tension between North and South Korea. However, not too far away, a significant security threat is unfolding. A large AC-130 gunship is spotted over North Virginia, and as two American fighter jets approach it with instructions to land or face retaliation, the situation escalates. Rather than heeding the warning, the gunship unveils machine guns, shooting down both American jets. The severity of this breach is quickly relayed to President Asher. Realizing the magnitude, he cuts the meeting short and goes against standard procedures, prioritizes the safety of his guests, and allows them to be escorted to the PEOC. In a swift response to the airborne threat, the military springs into action. Fighter jets are dispatched, soldiers gear up and take their places, and SAM turrets are readied to defend against the approaching threat. Seemingly detached from this immediate danger, Mike is at his desk when he suddenly realizes the pandemonium outside. The gunship rains bullets on the streets below, with civilians running in every direction. The harrowing sight of innocent lives being taken unfolds as Mike, driven by instinct, runs toward the chaos. The anti-aircraft turrets launch missiles at the gunship, but it deflects them with its defense mechanisms. As top officials secure themselves in the PEOC, Mike dashes through the streets, urging people to find cover and guiding them to relative safety. The gunship then shifts its focus to the White House, unleashing a barrage that decimates the guards on its roof. Just as all seems lost, a fighter jet swoops in, releasing a missile that strikes true. The gunship, now in flames, collides with the iconic Washington Monument before smashing into the ground. The impact causes the top of the monument to crumble, crushing several tourists below in a heart-wrenching scene. Inside the safety of the bunker, President Asher's primary concern remains his son. He urgently instructs the officials with him to ensure Connor's safety amidst the chaos. Outside, the aftermath of the gunship's destruction leaves Mike staring at the devastation. However, the calm is abruptly shattered by explosions around the perimeter. Mike quickly spots some of the culprits, bombers aiming to breach the White House fences. he manages to neutralize one, but another succeeds in his mission. A fresh wave of terror unfolds as Korean insurgents deploy smoke grenades, masking their assault. They then shoot some RPGs, tearing through the White House gates. A fierce gunfight erupts between the attackers and the Secret Service, with significant casualties on both sides. As Mike throws himself into the fray, the situation becomes even graver with two large trucks approaching. Meanwhile, inside the Pentagon's crisis room, Jacobs convenes a meeting with Ray Monroe, General Clegg, and other top officials. They're quickly briefed on the unfolding nightmare at the White House. Back at the battleground, the Secret Service is outmatched and outgunned, with many officers falling to the relentless assault. Mike's sharpshooting skills come in clutch, and the military reinforcements are on their way to the scene. Meanwhile, a nasty surprise awaits the officials in the bunker. Gunfire rings out as Kong, with his team and an unexpected ally, former Secret Service agent Dave Forbes, kill all the security inside the bunker. Asher and his associates find themselves at gunpoint, held hostage in what was meant to be their safest refuge. Outside, things take a drastic turn. As Mike and the remaining guards regroup, the ominous trucks make their presence felt. One truck's doors swing open to reveal a massive machine gun, which lays waste to any soldier in its path. An RPG round blasts the main entrance of the White House, and Mike witnesses the horrifying sight of his comrades falling. With the perimeter breached, he makes his way into the White House, seeking cover. The assault continues as the second truck delivers a payload, crates packed with weapons. Now armed to the teeth, the terrorists solidify their position within the White House. Their technical expert, Lim, ensures all external communication and controls for the White House are jammed. The defenders aren't giving up, though. Within the White House, Roma and his team mount a desperate counterattack against the terrorists who've now gained access to the control room. As gunfire echoes through the halls, Roma delivers a grave message: Olympus has fallen, signifying the loss of the White House as he is killed. With the White House under siege, reinforcements rally to reclaim the symbol of American power. They surround the historic building, assessing the situation and planning their next move. Inside the command center at the Pentagon, a shocking moment unfolds as Kong establishes a video link. Those watching are met with the brutal sight of Prime Minister Lee's execution. Kang's message is clear: stand down or face further bloodshed. As the call ends, this threat is driven home when a defiant Asher refuses to submit to Forbes, and another innocent life is snuffed out as a grim example of Kang's determination. Navigating the harrowing corridors of the White House, Mike discovers Agent Roma on the ground. Resolute, Mike makes his way to the control room. There, he stealthily neutralizes a guard and discovers a photograph of Connor in the man's pocket. Using the control room's computers, Mike manages to lock the terrorists out of the system completely. But the situation remains dire. Kong, with his cold and calculating demeanor, demands access to archived files. To President Asher, he explains the wrongs committed by America by involving themselves in the Korean Civil War. Kong, speaking in Korean, orders his men to locate Connor, and the president can do nothing about it. The situation escalates rapidly. At the Pentagon, Trumbull steps in, assuming the role of acting U.S. president during this unprecedented crisis. Meanwhile, inside the White House, Mike manages to reach the Oval Office. From there, he communicates with Jacobs back at the Pentagon. Though skepticism clouds the judgment of some members, Jacobs vouches for Mike's integrity. The conversation is punctuated by an intense face-off between Mike and an intruder, proving to be one of the stronger adversaries Mike has faced. Nevertheless, with the help of a Lincoln statue, Mike prevails. Kong then reaches out to the Pentagon and demands the 7th Fleet pulled back, and insists on the withdrawal of 28,500 American troops from the demilitarized zone, or else the president will get it. Faced with an agonizing decision, the gathered officials are caught between a rock and a hard place. Trumbull proposes reaching out to officials in North Korea, Russia, China, Britain, and France, hoping for a way out of this dire situation. In the bunker, tension peaks as Kong wields a knife, pressuring Admiral Honig for the Cerberus code. Reluctantly, under Asher's distressed watch, Honig reveals the code. Kong quickly activates it. Alarms sound at the Pentagon when NORAD reports the Cerberus code's activation. In the White House, Mike sends the Pentagon a picture of an assassin's tattoo, seeking updates. Trumbull informs him about the code's grave implications. It can shut down the nation's nuclear defenses. Only the president from the bunker's computer can alter it. They deduce Kang's interest in Connor is to control Asher. Trumbull tasks Mike with finding and protecting Connor. Kong, after seeing Mike's actions on surveillance, demands to know more about him from Forbes and decides Mike must be dealt with immediately. His men start searching the living quarters to find their intruder. But in the meantime, Mike discovers Connor hiding in Lincoln's bedroom's hidden walls. Mike manages to safely extract him just as more terrorists enter, firing their weapons at the wall. To calm Connor's fears, Mike reassures him that his father will be all right and tells the Pentagon he is guiding Connor up a ventilation shaft. The army goes to send in a team to wait for him outside. Mike takes out a soldier that discovers the hole, and with a sniper guiding them, 2 military troops stealthily make their way towards the shaft. They manage to rescue the boy, and Trumbull commends Mike for his work. In order to get more information, Mike takes out 2 goons and begins interrogating them. They respond with mockery but quickly shut up as Mike forcefully obtains the answers he seeks. He then informs Jacobs of Kang's identity, Yunzik Kang, head of the paramilitary organization KUF. He is the most wanted terrorist in the records, but no one had a single image of him. Additionally, they uncover that Kang lost his mother to an American landmine, adding to his revenge plan. Inside the White House, ominous explosives line the walls, their purpose yet unclear. Kang reaches out to Mike via intercom, leading to a tense exchange. Mike confidently informs Kang of Connor's safe extraction and boldly vows to bring him down. Kang retorts by referencing Mike's wife, trying to get under his skin. All the while, Asher listens, the weight of the situation evident on his face. Kang, relentless in his mission, turns his focus to McMillan, pressing her for another Cerberus code. Despite the excruciating pressure and Kang's cruel methods, McMillan remains unwavering. But as her life hangs in the balance, a desperate Asher commands her to reveal the code, which she does. With the second Cerberus code now activated, alarm bells ring out at the Pentagon. The atmosphere becomes tense as Mike stands face-to-face with Forbes. Though initially fooled by Forbes' act of fear, Mike's suspicions are aroused when his teammate mentions Kang by name. It's a detail that he shouldn't know, and it's enough for Mike to connect the dots. The tension escalates into a violent confrontation between the two, knives flashing and punches thrown. Forbes, skilled but outnumbered in this duel of wits and strength, finds himself disarmed. Mortally wounded, he finds himself cornered by Mike, who demands answers. Forbes admits his betrayal, confessing he'd lost his sense of direction and purpose. Seizing the moment, Mike coerces Forbes into deceiving Kang, making him believe Mike is dead. Once the message is conveyed, Mike delivers the final blow, ending Forbes' treacherous path for good. Back at the Pentagon, Trumbull tells Mike they're out of time and are sending in the SEALs. Multiple units begin flying into Washington and are quickly spotted by Kang's hacker. Mike then finds some empty boxes and communicates with General Clegg, revealing that the enemy have the Hydra 6 in their possession, next-generation weaponry. Nevertheless, Clegg orders the troops to proceed. Mike kills 3 enemies that attend to the weapon's controls, but is pinned down and cannot stop it. Tragically, the weapon turns on and manages to shoot down a chopper. Its rapid fire causes great difficulty, and it takes down one team after the other. As Mike kills the last man, he runs to the rooftop with an RPG. He blows the Hydra 6 as it shoots down the last chopper, which crashes into the White House, causing a massive explosion that inflicts severe damage to the building. Kang establishes contact with the Pentagon and carries out an attack on Vice President Rodriguez. He instructs them to recall the 7th Fleet and prepare a helicopter for their escape at dawn. Trumbull establishes connection with Mike once again and tells him he is going to recall the 7th Fleet. Mike tells him that's a mistake, and Trumbull gives him a half-hour limit before he gives the order. Mike then has a quick chat to his wife, grabbing some much-needed motivation for this upcoming battle. He makes a bold move by calling Kang and telling him he better save the last bullet for himself or he's going to regret it. He also threatens him and says there is no more negotiating, only death. This causes Kang to remove McMillan from the room and drags her outside with his men. Kang tells her she's free. As the news media covers the unfolding events, they capture footage of McMillan cautiously appearing in plain view. With her back turned, Kang nearly fires at her, but Mike intervenes and opens fire, diverting Kang's attention and enabling McMillan to escape, rescued by the troops. Mike takes out 3 enemies that remain to fight one at a time. Trumbull tells him he gave it a good shot and orders his men to remove their troops from Korea as well as the 7th Fleet. This is immediately played all over the media. Kang sees this and smiles, but now things get interesting as he masks the hostages with concealed bags over their heads. He and his team dress up and tie a chain around each other. They leave the bunker and begin walking out. The chopper lands, and as the hostages and terrorists board the helicopter, they find themselves under the watchful eye of approaching troops, who hesitate to open fire due to the risk of hitting the president. Just as the helicopter ascends, it suddenly explodes in midair and crashes to the ground. The Pentagon goes into shock. They believe that Asher has died in the explosion, along with everyone else. Mike receives the news but remains skeptical, knowing Kong is not the type of man to go out like that. Indeed, it turns out to be a diversion. Kong and the remaining men secretly hold Asher in the bunker, right as they finish hacking into this Cerberus code. The system turns online, and Kang's truly horrifying plan becomes clear. He intends to trigger the detonation of all the nuclear weapons to destroy the United States entirely. The Pentagon receives word of what is about to happen, and a 5-minute countdown initiates before the detonation of the nukes. Kong blows a hole into the tunnels below the White House and leaves the bunker. Mike is waiting for them and opens fire, quickly killing 3 enemies as Asher joins the fight by trying to stop Kong, though he is instead shot. A fierce conflict ensues between Mike and Kong as he pulls out 2 knives. The battle is ferocious, and Kong is no easy adversary. He gains the upper hand and throws Mike all around. He even taunts him by calling him a failure. However, Mike eventually lands a mad combo and grabs the knife on the ground and finishes off his opponent. Mike hurries into the bunker, urgently telling the Pentagon that Asher is alive, but with less than a minute left to stop the detonation. Jacobs, Trumbull, and Clegg rush to provide Mike with the deactivation code. With only seconds remaining, Mike successfully stops the detonation sequence, much to everyone's relief. Cerberus has been shut down, and America has been saved. Mike takes Asher outside, reuniting him with Connor, while Leah reunites with Mike. Asher addresses the nation, honoring those lost in the attack. He assures them that this tragedy has ignited their hope and confidence, enabling them to rise above fear and defend themselves. As he concludes, he steps off the stage and shakes Mike's hand. Mike stands with pride, finally finding redemption. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy action-packed recaps like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button.